Welcome, everybody. Well, last day of NRF. We've made it. I hope your feet have made it. Before I welcome the Michaels team up here, I want to share a really quick story that I feel a lot of us will really connect with about Michaels. So picture this. Me, 5th grade, 6 p.m. on a Tuesday, getting ready for bed. And I remember I have to build a volcano for a project that's due tomorrow. So I tell my mom. She's not happy. But she jumps into action. Get ready. What do you need? Get in the car. Let's go to Michaels. Why Michaels? Because they have everything she's going to need. We have the crafting clay. We have the backboard. We have construction paper. Everything we need to literally save my life. So off we go. Now, just this past Friday, it was my daughter's 5th birthday. What she wanted to do? She wanted to build crafts. So where do we go? Michaels. And so for me, Michaels isn't just a lifesaver. It's also about creating memories and building those special family moments that we all hold on to. And I call them, like now as I was thinking about this, my Michaels memories. And we all have those. So, think about yours while you're sitting up here. Now, how does it connect to where we're at now? So when I joined YOOBIC and they told me, Casey, you're going to be the CSM for Michaels. My first thought was not, how am I going to drive a frontline experience? Or how do I get them to adopt more of our platform? My first thought was, I can't wait to help my mom. Coming into the store, knowing that she only has to make one stop because the team there is trained on where everything is and they can help her get in and out so we can keep me alive. Another thought is just recently with the holiday season behind us, those parents who are running in for a little stocking stuffer, some little craft that they can make Christmas morning. And they know they can go there and ask an employee, what are some good ideas? And they've got all the ideas of everything you could think of because they have everything for every craft. So that's what I think about. And why I'm really excited today when we're going to be talking about operational efficiencies, strategies during peak season. And there's no other perfect people than the two that I'm joined up here with. So, we have Chris Freeman, who's SVP of store operations, Artistree manufacturing, and custom framing. Yep. He brings 30 years of experience, 17 of those here at Michaels. His experience spans from asset protection, wholesale B2B sales, store operations. So, you think of that 30 years of knowledge that's going to be shared with you all. And he's joined on stage with Tiffany Reese here, Director of Workload Communications. And she's also spent her career in retail, 10 of those years at GameStop. She came over to Michaels with her just wealth of knowledge in store operations, communication. And she joined Michaels right at the beginning of peak season. So who better to figure out how to hit the ground running, new job, peak season, let's get through it. They're both based out of Texas. Chris, when he's not at Michaels, managing a cattle ranch. Yep. And so lots of animals there. Interestingly enough, Tiffany's tortoise lives there as well. And when Tiffany's not at Michaels, they're both running around with their families. They've got their own family to manage. Tiffany's working on her crafting as well. So please ask her about her current crochet project. Phenomenal story there. But without further ado, want to pass it over to them. And Michaels, stage is yours.
Awesome. Thank you, Casey. Appreciate that. Yeah, so my other full-time job, my wife has now designated me as the wagon boss. So that's my new role outside of retail. So good morning. Thank you so much for joining us. Before we get into the content, what I thought I would do is set the stage and provide some context as to the journey that we're going to take you on today. I've been doing this for a long time, as Casey walked through my background. I've worked in a number of different segments of retail. And what I could tell you is that the journey that we've been on over the last year and change with YOOBIC has been life-changing for us. It's really what we found is it's an unlock. We found a secret sauce in this. And what we're going to share with you today is not just, the journey through. We're going to give you live practical examples of how we've used that. And the theme is leading up to peak season. So we've identified 6 strategies that helped us to have a successful peak season. But what we found is this journey all the way through, and like most of you in this room, it's the build up to peak season. It's, and so it's that journey prior to when the volume gets really busy. And that's what we're going to share with you today, because we felt it was compelling enough to walk you through this journey, but then at the same time, not just tell you how the platform works, but give you some real life examples and share some of the playbook that we got approval from our support center to be able to share with you today. So I am really excited to walk you through that. And if you think about prior to the platform with YOOBIC, imagine a world, and a lot of you have probably worked with retailers in the past that didn't have a communications platform, a way to look at workforce management and really dive into your work activities, measure the success and productivity in your stores. So what was our traditional view? Our view was Google Docs, Excel spreadsheets, roll-ups, conference calls, emails after emails, right? So, and our store managers inundated with their inboxes, not knowing and having this dichotomy of leadership of being pulled into the office to look for the next thing that was going to come down, or, a way to get out on the sales floor and engage with the customers and drive the customer experience. And that has really been the unlock for us as we've walked through this journey. So I wanted to provide you with a little bit of context, as we go through. So let's walk you through the agenda today. A couple things that we're going to run through is introduction to the Michaels brand. I think it's important that you understand a little bit about our brand. I think most people in the room probably know Michaels. And if you shop with us, thank you for your business. But we wanted to share this with you in our brand vision, mission, and purpose, because it's another unlock that we found with the platform, a way for us to be able to connect across, and we'll demonstrate that to you across the entire organization out in the field, and we'll walk you through that journey today. Tiffany's going to walk you through our peak season timeline, that buildup, and the things that we do to get ready for that. And then I'll walk you through the first couple of strategies, and then I'm going to turn it over to my expert, and she's going to walk you through the balance of those as well. And by the way, I work for Tiffany, Reese, and I have a pleasure of doing that. But let's dive into the content and walk through. So before I do that, let's talk about the brand. So Michaels Companies is divided up into 4 subsidiaries. First is our brick and mortar stores, the Michaels stores that you probably are familiar with. And our motto there is everything to create anything. So as Casey talked about, in that scenario, we were able to deliver for him in real time. You'll hear me refer to our customers today as makers. That's how we identify them. We are really around we sell fun and we sell creativity in our stores. I will tell you, I've worked across a number of segments of retail. This is my favorite, because the customers can teach us more about our products than we will ever know. And it's a really cool dynamic. And what I can tell you is this platform with YOOBIC has allowed us to bring that to life in our stores. Artistree. So that's our custom framing manufacturing. And I also lead and oversee the custom framing business as well as our manufacturing side. We are vertically integrated. So meaning that we actually manufacture our own molding here in the United States. We have a factory in Kernersville, North Carolina, and we produce millions of feet of molding that go into our stores. Actually, the majority of molding that we sell in our stores for custom framing is manufactured here in the U.S., and it's something that we're really, really proud of. In addition to that, we also do B2B fulfillment, printing. So I can print across a wide variety of substrates, and our area of focus is really around quality and an expertise in color matching. I can't, not take advantage of this opportunity. Anybody in the room that needs B2B custom framing, see me after the session. More than happy to help you there. MakerPlace. MakerPlace is our online marketplace. for everything handmade. So third-party sellers that engage with us and sell their goods online. We launched that last year. It's been wildly successful, and it fits perfectly into our ecosystem. So think of those professional makers that are third-party sellers. They have a way to engage and buy product from us at a discount, which is where Michaels Pro comes into place. That's our B2B platform, buy in bulk and save discounts. So those are the 4 different tenets of the Michaels brand. Our mission and purpose. So to walk through this very quickly, we're here to fuel the joy of creativity with the ability to create everything to create anything. And the promise to our makers, we're the best place for all things creative. So it kind of ties in, and that's the thing that we've been able to bring to life out in this portfolio of stores. So this is the way that we look right now. We're actually closer to about 1,350 stores. During peak season, we have a ramp up, so we'll get to 48,000 team members across the organization. And as I mentioned, most of you are probably familiar with Michaels. That's because you probably live within 10 miles of Michaels store. We're across 49 states, and we're also in North America. We're very proud of our Canadian business as well. And the other thing that's very exciting about the Michaels brand is we have an endless aisle strategy. We launched Marketplace. We have over 1.2 million SKUs across the portfolio. All right. Our brands. So many of you in this room, we've got 12 private label brands that we design and source ourselves across all of our key categories. So you'll see that as you go into the stores. So something that we're also very proud of. Our executive team. So this is a snapshot of our executive team. One note of change. If anybody in the room from Kohl's, congratulations. Ashley Buchanan is heading your way to Milwaukee. We're very excited for Ashley. We've had a great run. He joined us right before COVID and has done some amazing things, especially in the digital space. So for the Kohl's team, you're very lucky to be able to get our CEO. We're currently in the process of looking at that, but we have a great executive team that supports us here as well. All right, so peak season, the reality check. So if you look at our ramp up, and as Tiffany mentioned, some of you may have a different curve and timing around where your peak hits. Ours is really November and December. 30% of those sales happen in those 2 months. And really, when you start to break that down, it's in a concentrated, even more consolidated area of the business there. So that's kind of how our peak flows. So next slide as we move forward. I'm going to turn it over to Tiffany to walk you through how that timeline works and how we have that build up to that 30%.
Awesome. Thanks, Chris. So like many retailers, our peak season centers around the winter holidays. This may be different for you depending on your industry, but every retailer has a similar flow to their peak season. So believe it or not, at Michaels, we kick things off over the summer with our fall and Halloween set. That's also when we launch our peak season planner, and that's how we help our field and store teams to prepare for the coming months. As fall and Halloween are selling down, we set the winter holiday product, and that helps our customers to decorate for the season. But so we can make sure that our teams are really focusing on our makers and what they need to do in stores, we implement this communications blackout from October 15th through January 19th. And that's when we only allow business critical communications to come through the door. If it's not going to impact the customer, the team member, or the sales experience, you're not getting through my team to our stores during that time. Like most of you, our season peaks with Black Friday and Cyber Monday. Then in December, as the decor continues to sell down, we focus on that holiday gifting with a big clearance event right after Christmas. Then in January, we haul away the holly, we haul out the storage solutions. That's also when our teams complete what we call snapback. And that's the activities that they do to get the store recovered and back to normal times for the rest of the year.
And that snapback element, so within the platform, so previously, as we would come out of peak season, we would have, our planner that would go through from a digital perspective to lead them all the way, but it was paper form, right? And then the snapback, as we get out of season, would be manual roll-ups, conference calls, and fragmented execution. And what we found as we've gone through the system with YOOBIC is being able to track that, communicate effectively all the way through. This has been an absolutely huge win for us to then get back into Q1 exactly where we need to be from a business perspective.
So I hope that helps. Have a great show. No, I'm just kidding. We're here to hear about our 6 strategies. So Chris is going to start us off
With our strategy. You just threw a monkey wrench at me.
I know. Sorry. That's how we roll.
All right. So, first strategy as we dive into it is cultivating a sense of belonging. And this isn't just a peak season strategy. Obviously, this is an everyday strategy. For those of you that got to go to the keynote presentation yesterday, we feel the same way. Investing in culture and really focusing there is something that's very important to us. But it goes beyond that. How do you create a sense of belonging? And what I can tell you with this platform is it has activated our ability to do that all the way down to the frontline team members. And it really has been game changing. Unfiltered access to be able to get to that front line as we bring them into our company, immerse them into our culture, and very clearly and concisely communicate about the Michaels brand, what the expectation is. And not that we're perfect. There's no such thing as perfection. We always chase after excellence, but what this has done through peak season especially has set us up for success to really be able to go out and leverage that. So it's been a huge win just across the board, aligning to our brand mission and our values. So these are our company values. What we're most proud of around these values is these were made by our team in the stores for the team in the stores. We bookend them with people. So we put people first, and then we say we're better together. In between is how we operate and execute from a business perspective. So we want to make sure that we do everything with a sense of integrity. We want to make sure that we are always working on growth and development and improving our craft. And then more importantly, we also need to hold ourselves accountable. And I will tell you that the ecosystem that we've been able to create with this tool and the journey over the last 12 months, and especially this last peak season, has really set us up for success. And I would tell you, real-time feedback just coming out of season is our stores have told us this was the smoothest peak season that we've ever had. I would attribute a lot of that to obviously the planning and the work and everything that Tiffany and the team, that at the support center drives on execution, but the communication vehicle and the way we were able to connect and activate those things was through the YOOBIC platform. So it's been a huge win. And I would highly suggest, as you look at that strategy leading into peak, aligning with your team members seasonally. We all know that is the hardest challenge because those team members are only going to be with us for a short period of time. So how do you get that message out and activate them, but get them excited about our culture and the things that we do during the journey that they're on with us here today? All right, next slide. We're going to walk you through a video here real quick that shows our values.
You want to make a Halloween costume, create that gallery wall, knit some tiny socks for your cat, and create a sweet new t-shirt for your band. So you go to Michaels. Why? Because for 50 years, we've been the best place for all things creative. It all started with a guy named Michael. I know what you're thinking. Not the Michael. Yes, the Michael. Michael had an idea for a project. He took an old 5 and dime store and turned it into a spot where anyone could find everything to create anything. That's got a nice ring to it. Michael knew how to take an idea and turn it into something legendary. He was so good at picking out creative trends that someone called him a wizard. In that way, Michael was a lot like all of you. Not the wizard part, but because he made sure people had everything they needed to experience the joy of creativity. Like the supplies to start a small business. Or a not so small business. The right trimmings for every season. The ability to transform something ordinary into something out of this world. And learn a new skill along the way. Because at Michaels, we keep our stores stocked with ideas. And ideas come to life because people bring them to life. That's the people who come here to shop. And you. The people who make it all possible. Oh, hey, Ryan. Okay, back to the timeline. Fast forward 11 years. Now we're calling the whole company Michaels. And Michaels just keeps growing and changing and growing. Finding ways to take really good care of team members. Helping others. And continuing to be the best place for all things creative. Which is how we've gotten to where we are today, evolving together to fuel the joy of creativity for the next 50 years. Michaels, everything to create anything.
So imagine, previously, before we had the platform, we would make these amazing communications, spend the time on the creative with all the video. The consistency of execution, if we were honest with ourselves, would be hit and miss. And now with the platform, we've been able to engage with those team members, align with the mission. We sprinkle in all of the different things around the brand, around the execution, but really driving that culture. This is the result. So you take a look at happier employees at the end of that, literally 15% reduction in voluntary turnover in the last 12 months. And I would attribute a lot of that to our ability to be able to have this connection with those team members directly using the platform. So it's been an absolutely huge win. All right. Empowering our front line. So we know that that's where everything happens there. And it's really, really critical that we align to the mission. I think everybody would acknowledge and agree with me. The difference between alignment and explaining the whys is between mediocrity and excellence in our stores. And that's what the platform has allowed us to do. Having that direct frontline, unfiltered access to make them understand, why are we doing the things that we're doing in our stores? How do we want to do those things? And really walking them through, but then aligning that to the strategic pillars. And it's not just through, we were going to talk about some of the video strategies and things that we've done out there, but it's through missions, it's through communications, it's a holistic kind of ecosystem, and then communities on top of that Tiffany will walk you through. It has really been a huge win for us, but aligning to those strategic pillars from our executive team is really where we've also seen the win as well. So you think about from the top down, this system's allowed us to really move the needle forward and have a very successful peak season, and empowering, most importantly, that frontline team member.
And I'll add there, Chris, that, I appreciate as we're going through every communication, not just during peak season, but throughout the year, we constantly challenge the team with asking for the why. Chris challenged my team. I challenge everybody on my team, and we challenge all of our partners. If you can't explain to me and to our team members why we're sending this communication, why we're doing this thing, then why are we even doing it? Don't waste my time with it.
Yeah, definitely got us to a point with execution and excellence during peak season. So we've got a quick video, I think, that we're also going to walk you through that'll show you that on the next. So.
It's your intro to mic check.
All right, let's do it.
So let me introduce you to Mic Check. Yes.
So easy.
Mic Check is our platform. It's the one-stop shop for everything that's going to be happening in the stores.
It feels very much like any social media platform.
We have noticed a change with the employees and the morale and the productivity.
Communication's better, it's streamlined, it's simplified, which allows us to drive better sales and service.
I'm seeing tasks be executed at a higher level.
The ease of access to the analytics, it's a game changer.
Real live drill in the boardroom about a particular merchandising set, and within seconds I'm able to pull up the platform and take a look at execution across the entire chain. You're going to see labor savings, you're going to see increased sales, you're going to see better training and compliance. Good. So there's a method to the madness there. Having first-person testimonials as well. So district managers, store managers, embracing this, getting excited. And that's the feedback that we've gotten directly from the field. So Tiffany's going to walk you through the platform and really talk about how the system works.
So I mentioned during the timeline, we start everything in the summer with prep for peak season. And one of the most powerful ways that we communicate with our field teams about business priorities and strategies is our biannual field leadership meeting. We host a virtual meeting every spring and then an in-person meeting in the fall. So that spring meeting really is our start to the new year. We celebrate our wins from the last year. We tee up all the priorities and pillars for the coming year, and we set the stage and align everyone to where we're headed as a team. Then in fall, we bring everybody back together. We remind everybody of the mission, and we give them that sneak peek to Q4. We lay it all out for them in August. Here's what we're doing. Here's where we're going. Here's everything we need to do to be successful throughout peak season. Our FLM hub is what you're seeing here. This is what we give access to all of our team members through Mic Check. And on FLM hub in Mic Check, it's the one-stop shop. Everything they need for the meeting, from the agenda all the way to the meeting content, presenter bios. And it's not just for our attendees. Our district managers and our store managers attend the meeting, whether in person or virtually, but every team member in the store has access to FLM hub so that they can go back and see the content. And it's easier for our leaders to align the entire store team to the mission and what was discussed at the meeting. And that really is crucial to getting our peak season started, is getting everybody on the same page. FLM Hub is how we do that. So then a couple of other hubs that we use, not just during peak, but throughout the year. 411 is for our district managers, and that's quick access to all the information they need to support their stores every day. They can see what's due today in all of their stores. They can see the full week. But most importantly, it helps them very quickly identify opportunities. They can see which stores they need to spend the most time in and give the most attention to help them be successful. And then Frontline Focus, we just launched this last fall, and it's been a huge success. So every Monday, we release a quick video on Mic Check in the news feed, and it highlights the operational priorities for this week. We told you a few weeks ago what the plan is for the month, for the quarter, but this week, where we're standing now, what's the mission? What are those things you need to execute? And then we release that on the news feed, and we promote engagement in the comments. We prompt for comments from our team members, and we get this great discussion across all of our stores and team members about the mission and the priorities for the week. And Chris, I know you have some thoughts specifically on Frontline.
Absolutely. And so a couple of things. The hub strategy for us was a game changer. I will tell you, frankly, it was a learning curve that we had to get through within the platform. So when we first started down this journey, we had things spread out. What we quickly found, listening to our store team members, they said, we're having a difficult time finding things when we need it because we just frankly had so much. So we leveraged this system to go back and create and organize very quick access hubs all the way through. Game changing. Secondarily, think about the challenges that we had this last peak season with late freight as an example. Our ability to be able to go back and in real time with this Frontline Focus video strategy, bring in my business partners and literally tell our stores by each one of our respective distribution centers what's coming, when it's coming, and what to expect from a late freight perspective has been huge. We wouldn't have had that before. We would have had to jump on conference calls, send a bunch of PowerPoint decks out, right? Do follow-ups. Concise, clear communication has been a game changer for us. Really.
I agree. And another unexpected win with Frontline Focus. Now that these videos are well known in the field, they're talking about it. One of the challenges we had was engaging with our hourly team members. So we had the district managers all locked up. The store managers were engaging most of our managers in the store, but those hourly folks who come in once, twice a week, how do you get to them? We found now they're going into the system on their shift because they want to see that Frontline Focus video. So we saw engagement overall pick up because of those video postings every week. It's been cool to watch. So next, I want to talk about promoting collaboration, which that was a great segue too. I'm sure you've seen in all of your organizations, the best engaged teams are those who are constantly communicating and sharing best practices. If they're working in silos, we're not being successful. We use targeted communications to make sure the messages are getting directly to those team members who need the information the most. And that helps us keep our channels clear. So an hourly team member doesn't need to see everything we're sending out. We target their newsfeed just for those things that is most important to them. And it also lets us separate, for example, our Canada stores. There's a lot of information that goes to our US stores that Canada doesn't need to see or care about. It just clouds up their feed. So we have a whole targeted view just for those folks, and vice versa. The US doesn't need to know what Canada is doing. But we have transparency. So all that information is in the system. If they want to go find it and see it, they can. We just don't feed it to them in their news feed. But in all of our communications, we take every opportunity to celebrate and shout out team members, and all the stores for their great work. That may be a well-executed event, a great merchandising set, or just team member appreciation. No matter how big or small, recognition through our communications helps us cultivate that culture of belonging. And it's really fun to watch in the comments in the newsfeed as people get shout outs. It's not just in their district or their store. It's across the whole chain in the support center. It's probably my favorite thing to do in Mic Check. But we also encourage peer-to-peer learning. Our best ideas, I think you'll agree, come from the field, come from our stores and the folks on the front line. So through YOOBIC, we're able to connect team members, like I said, not just within their store or their district, but across the entire chain at all levels, so everybody can have one conversation and really share those best practices.
and you combine the frontline focus, the peer-to-peer learning, but the empowerment that we've had with recognition, so our field leaders all the way from the support center. So in real time, and there's nothing better. Our team members, as you probably all know, they love seeing their name in lights. When you have the ability in this platform to communicate directly from the CEO, from the chief operating officer, we're constantly recognizing them. Then you start to get into the peer-to-peer communications back and forth. They really activate it and they just take it and run with it. It's been a huge win.
So let's talk about communities. In Mic Check, we use peer-to-peer learning, and it happens organically through the communities, from custom framing best practices to employee resource groups, even to the district and store chats. Communities have been crucial in boosting creativity, encouraging that entrepreneurial spirit within our stores, but ultimately moving the team forward as a group. So the screenshot you see here is from our Makers Like Me community. And Chris, I think that one's a little near and dear to your heart.
It is. So I'm the executive sponsor for our disability inclusion, Michael's resource group. And this is an area we've had so much engagement and so many wins around this platform. And, being able to, so you'll see some demonstrations of other communities, but this one in particular has been a huge win just across the org to, showcase these team members with special abilities and what they're doing out in our stores and really helping us to activate that program.
So here's 3 of our most active open communities. These are open to any team member who's in Mic Check. So while all of our team members are passionate about what they do, our framers are in a league of their own. This group takes so much pride in creating masterpieces for our makers. So naturally, when we wanted to test out community engagement on that large scale, custom framing was a no-brainer. We opened the community about a year ago, and as you can see, over 40,000 likes and over 1.2 million posts just in that community. It's really active.
It's been amazing. So for any of you that have a specialty business that requires, direct sales and consulting design, this has been game changing for us. They're able to go back and showcase some of the things that they've done. And so we've got like endless possibilities, right? From a design perspective and, also from a production and technique perspective in the background. So they're teaching each other how to sell and what the trends are and the things that we're seeing across the portfolio. This has been a huge win for our framers. Very, very highly engaged.
That's awesome. And so our inclusion and diversity community, over 46,000 active users. It's not just our stores. So everyone at Michael's has access to Mic Check. While our stores are the heavy users, the I&D community actually is used by Support Center as well. So it's really cool to watch the connection across all those channels, sharing information and stories, not just at the Support Center stores, but across everywhere. Then there's MCX community. MCX stands for Michael's Centers of Excellence. So there's at least one MCX store in every district across the company. These teams are the best of the best at what they do, and they act as that training hub for their area. So newly hired and promoted managers at Michael's stores are required to complete training in their local MCX store, working alongside the experts so they're successful in their role. But in the past, there's been maybe 1 or 2 team members going through MCX at a store at any given time, and they're kind of on this island. They're the only trainee going through. But through the MCX community, we've been able to connect our MCX trainees across the company. So even though they're not right there in the same neighborhood, they can have a conversation with other team members who are going through the MCX program at the same time as them. And it's really helped to grow our MCX program and increase the activity within the program itself through that community.
Yeah, and this has been another one. If you look prior to the platform and the ability to organize each one, so we have one of the hubs is focused on our Michael Centers of Excellence, and then they activate it themselves and help each other through, and then we can engage. So if there's questions around training, clarification, things that they need, our team at the support center is able to go in and ensure that we're guiding them through and teaching them the right way. And so what I'll tell you is the consistency then leading up to peak season is where the win is here, right? So this has been another area for us that has been game changing across the boards from a training and engagement perspective.
And you made a great point, Chris. How do you control the comments, right? How do you know that what somebody posted is the reality? Our team members at the support center are constantly interacting with these communities, checking the comments, making sure that the answers are valid and correcting where we need to. So it's also also a good way to keep a check on the pulse of, is the right information out there? Are we doing our jobs as communicators to get the right stuff out?
It's been great. All right, let's transition into the fourth strategy, leveraging data and insights. This has been another area that's been a big win for Michael's. So as we led up to peak season, one of those most important things we need to do is make sure that our stores have what they need, supplies, fixtures. So we're able to engage within the ecosystem with polls, surveys. Previously, we would be doing Excel spreadsheet roll-ups, Google Docs, emails back and forth, right? This fragmented way that we can go about doing that. Ultimately, what would happen? The store wouldn't make the deadline or wouldn't see the 15 different emails in the chain, though, if we were asking for something. Now, in one platform, I can get out there. What do you need from a shopping cart perspective? Hand baskets, fixtures from, being able to effectively set planograms, register tape, those types of things. And now, one ecosystem, we can do that in real time. We can pull up that data. More importantly, I can get everybody across the finish line. So a huge win from that perspective as well. And then instant access into the boardroom. And, this for me has also been one of those that has been game changing, because we go back and we take a look in real time during peak season. If we've got an opportunity in an area that's not performing, ultimately what happens is operators, the merchants say, hey, did you guys set that? Did you execute it? Is it out on the sales floor? Because we're not realizing the sales that we originally planned, or we have stores that have zero sales. We can go into the platform, and I've literally had this where I've been challenged by my CEO. I can pull up that particular mission for that particular planogram, and I can tell them, we're sitting at 80% effectiveness right now. And what's the reason for the other 20%? I've got late freight. We were missing fixtures. So there's learnings in real time and things that we can do. As an example, true story. We had a set that we put out in a mission. Team did a great job. And the merchants gave us everything that we need, and we moved forward. It was a glass craft table, right? Well, we have another craft table that looks exactly like that. So all they saw was craft table. We missed one little piece in the communication from the merchant, glass. And when you look at the box, they almost look identical. Okay. So merchant sitting across me and says, you guys didn't set this. Right. Well, I'm looking right now, and the team says that they executed it. We went back, took a look, started to get some information from the team, and realized that one little piece we needed to clarify. Resent the mission same day, literally within 48 hours, got sales back on track with a display, and we were hitting the sales plan for that particular SKU. So that's the dynamics that you can have in peak season by leveraging the data and the insights. Previously, I would have had to left my financial review on a Monday and do a roll up and try to scramble through the end of the day. And hopefully by end of day on the Monday, most of us have Mondays with our CEOs in the boardroom, and we're scrambling through, especially during peak season. I would have hoped to have had a roll up for my CEO by end of day, right? Now, touching my fingertips, I have everything right there available to me. The other thing is we also have a balanced scorecard. Many of you have a balanced scorecard on your core KPIs. We wanted to make sure we had one ecosystem, one area for them to go in and really leverage. Another win, not only from the standpoint of being able to go back and look at that data, but they're not hunting and pecking and looking for other things during peak season. What does that do? It gets you out on the sales floor. It allows you to engage with customers and gives you time back. What does that do? It drives sales. It drives units per transaction, conversion, all the things, by the way, that are on that balanced scorecard. So huge win from that standpoint as well.
Well, Chris, I do have to say I missed the panicked 1 p.m. text from the boardroom.
Yes. All right. And then the other thing, again, we've talked a little bit about this, but just clear instructions in how we execute and really rolling through. This is something I'm very proud of. Just in the last year, it's crazy. 2 million missions that we've completed in that mic check platform. And what I would tell you is, from an execution standpoint, I can actually now tell my executive committee what my batting average is. And I can also tell them why we have misses, and I can work with my partners and see what we can do to course correct in real time. Imagine the power of that during peak season, right? It really is exponential from a results perspective as well. So huge win. And then this is a snapshot, just to, not an eye chart, not going to walk through all these. This just gives you, I'm in the boardroom, I can see by geography. I have drill down capabilities. And I've got, this is what I would be viewing and engaging with my team on as we move forward. And then we have gold star moments. And this is an area that Tiffany's going to walk you through. One of the lessons I would share with everybody, our merchant partners, I love them, but each one of them wants to say that their planogram is the most important planogram. And my advice to you there is you really got to prioritize and execute. And it's that give and take and aligning with your executive team on what are the things that you want for that milestone moment. Because if everything's a milestone moment, everything's a priority, nothing's a priority, right? So, Tiffany, walk us through gold star moments.
Thanks, Chris. So I mentioned these when we were looking at the timeline. And as Chris said, gold star moments are those times during our store execution where we complete either a major reset, a great event, or just some initiative that's intended to have a significant visual impact in our stores. While any mission can include a photo validation, the title of Gold Star Moment is reserved just for those missions where we're counting on completion to drive sales and engagement. So when a store completes all the required actions, they upload a picture to the Gold Star Moment mission to show that their activity's finished. Then the district managers actually go in before we say it's actually completed by the store. The DMs go in, they make sure, yes, that's set how it's supposed to. And if it's not, the DMs can mark up on the picture, send it back to the store, and have that real-time conversation with the stores about what they missed. But the other great thing from the DM validation is they use those pictures to show the rest of the team what great looks like. So we actually see them grabbing the pictures out of the missions and popping them in their district communities and saying, hey guys, this is what great looks like. Everybody's set should look like this. And now we can have a whole conversation within the district, within the region about what the great looks like for that set. So it helps to set the bar, but it also helps with recognition and engagement.
And even within the ecosystem around that mission execution, and especially in the photo validations, think of our stores. We have a huge push on creativity and product application. So the ability for our store team members to go back and display a sample for customers in a way that our merchants and our product development team never even thought for them to drive sales. That's been the other win here is we can share that across the fleet very quickly. It'll get likes. It'll get all kinds of buzz and feedback. So another way to activate sales and engage with the team and leveraging within the data insights at the same time.
Definitely. And I also love that selfishly we're able to curate a library of pictures from the stores. So next time I have to send that mission about the same thing, I've got pictures of what great looks like from last time that we can reuse. So that's a great segue to our fifth strategy, which is standardizing best practices for consistency. So with all the tools and resources available, MicCheck has become that one-stop shop for everything that our team members need to do their jobs. We have a full document library that houses everything from HR handbooks to the SOPs and job aids, planograms. Everything they need is in the document library. We use the hubs to help guide them and organize the content so they're not having to pick and peck and search through everything that's out there. That can get overwhelming. We need quick access to things that we're looking for. So the hubs help bring everything together for easy access to what they need. Then through the YOOBIC Learn module, we've been able to create very quick, engaging micro learnings that reinforce knowledge and encourage ongoing education among our teams. But the best part about all of this is the way that we can link across all the modules. So when we want to do something in a store, we just simply send them a mission and we link them to that thing in the system within MicCheck so that they can quickly get to what they need to complete that activity. So whether it's a mission or a newsfeed post, we use the links to get them very quickly from one place to another across the system. Very complementary to the second strategy that we talked about with empowering that frontline team member, direct access to be able to do that. And, I think we've all experienced where if you don't have consistency in training, I teach you 50% of what I know. That person's going to ultimately teach somebody else. They're going to teach them 50% of what they know. We have eliminated that direct access to be able to have a full version of the truth right down to that frontline team member using this. So the walks and certifications, throughout the year, our stores and our district managers complete certifications and store walks. That helps us ensure the consistency and reinforce the standards and best practices and processes. These audits are now fully digitized. We're not walking around with checklists anymore or clipboards. They do everything on any mobile device or computer that they have. And the reporting that we get back is valuable in that it shows those trends. So our field leaders, like I said at the top, they can quickly identify and focus on those stores that need the most help. out. And that's just one more way that we're able to celebrate wins and recognize those teams that are executing at a very high level. It all goes back to empowering our field teams, like Chris said, making store walks easy to execute. It's truly reduced that temptation to pencil whip the checklist, and it really leads to better real-time feedback and development in our stores.
Yeah, the dichotomy of leadership here, we always balance between the workload piece and the service side, right? And we are very intentional with these district manager walks. I can see trends and see where we're moving forward. And one of the trends we picked up during peak season is we've got a week with too much workload. And I can see in my KPIs on that balanced scorecard that we're starting to see deterioration, and we can go back and start to pivot to make sure that we've got acute focus. What can we do to manage through the rest of that in real time? So it's been great. And then I've talked about celebrating success, but again, another way to recognize for the district managers digitally in that platform has been outstanding.
So let's talk about the peak season planner. I mentioned it during the timeline, and when we looked at it, you saw it was at the very beginning of our timeline. So this is the playbook that my team creates for a successful peak season. We start working on that in the spring. We work cross-functionally with all of our partners at the support center. We work with our field partners to make sure we didn't miss anything. And it really is everything they need in one spot: key dates, tips, and what they need to plan for the next peak season. Anything from hiring and team member appreciation to scheduling to space planning, it's all there in one spot for peak season. And we keep it linked on a tile on the homepage so that as soon as they log in, if that's what they're looking for, one click takes them straight to that peak season planner. And we know we can't predict everything that's going to happen in peak season. I wouldn't be sitting here with you if I could. But this planner is that valuable tool to make sure that that we've done everything we possibly can to get them prepared as we go into the season.
So consistency is the word that I would stress here, going from paper, right? And we have this big push. You got the mailbag, at the start of the fourth quarter. And in that mailbag, you had your paper version in the past of your peak season planner, right? What have we experienced now? We always know that you're going to miss something. The best laid plan, you're going to miss something along that way in that journey. You're going to need to pivot. Guess what I can do now? I can update this in real time. I don't need to worry about that one version that we sent in a printed form way back a couple months ago for them to prep on. So another area team that I would absolutely suggest that as you build the strategy out, and it was a win for us during peak season.
And then we also talked about snapback. So you've made it through the peak season, storage is set, clearance is flying off the shelves, but in Michael's stores, that means one thing: it's time for snapback. So every week during snapback, our stores focus on a key area of the store to make sure that we've fully recovered from the holiday season and everything's ready for a great start to the new year. And in the past, we would have to deep clean everything in the store, really labor intensive. But now, as you saw with Clean and Bright and the DM walks, we have consistent cleanliness and standards in our stores that we can report on and track. So what we found this year, since we've had Clean and Bright and the DM walks in place, we actually were able to cut snapback in half. So we can see our stores have never looked better, and we were able to save half of the time that we've used traditionally on snapback to do much less this year. It wasn't really needed. Our fiscal year ends in January, so this is week 50 for us. Stores tackled front end and support areas last week. They're in detailed recovery this week, making sure the sales floor looks great. Next week they'll do the frame shop. The week after that is stock room, and then they're good to go for 2025.
Yep. So it was another piece that we wanted to share out of the playbook as far as peak season as that relates. We start to execute this while we still have seasonal team members, while we still have labor that's at a higher level during those peak periods of time, so we could leverage that against the sales revenue. And it allows us to go through this journey and really make sure that we have ended the fiscal year and we're starting Q1 with our best foot forward. So it's an area that we didn't execute as well in the past. And I'll tell you that the system to be able to track that has been phenomenal. The other side of this too, I think all of us had a little bit of weather over the last couple of weeks, and we had to close down some stores and traffic got a little bit lighter. Guess what we were able to do with this system? We were able to pivot the 4-week plan. Okay. We want our team members to still have those hours. So we were able to, in the digital platform, tell the team, you know what, combine a couple of these weeks in the Northeast or in the South where we had snow in Dallas last week. You know what? let's go ahead and start to work and pull some of the things forward. So geography-wise, we were able to communicate, leverage the labor so it doesn't go unwasted. My CFO loves that, right? But I couldn't have done that before. I had that paper planner in the past, right? So being able to dynamically move that business around. And we also wanted to share this playbook with you. I'm sure a lot of you do a snapback as you get into season, but this has been a huge win for us.
And to bring it full circle, these are gold star moments. So every week there's a gold star moment for what they should have executed in Snapback. It's the best that thing should look going into the year. So show us how great your store looks for this week in Snapback. So when we talk about standardizing best practices, it's not just about consistency. By using the tools and functionality in Mic Check, we've seen significant reduction in the time it takes for our teams to complete missions. So I mentioned we cut Snapback in half. It doesn't end there. Across all missions, we're consistently seeing 60% savings on mission completion time. And that gives our team members time back in their day to be there for our makers.
And the balance of that time out on selling, right? Driving engagement with your customers. It's been a huge win.
So our final strategy for success, not just in peak season, but every day, is embracing innovation. I could do a whole separate big idea session on how amazing my communications team is, but we wouldn't be able to give our stores the support they need without the help of our cross-functional partners. So when I meet a new team member at the support center, one of the first things I ask is, have you logged into Mic Check? I know it's for the stores. I know you're at the support center, but have you logged into Mic Check? Understanding our communication strategy and the role that our partners play in that strategy is crucial in getting that buy-in and getting them on the path to making our stores successful. So we also use a dedicated channel in Teams for collaborating with our partners on field communications. And that's a channel where they can ask questions, report issues, and get support that they need as contributors. And I know you're saying, why don't you do that in Mic Check? I think you would all agree. You have probably a dozen different ways that people communicate in your area. If I could get everybody to live in Mic Check, I would. I would say, everybody go live there. Don't talk to me anywhere else. It's not reality. So we meet them where they are. We found that our support center partners like to communicate in Teams. They know how to use it. So we've given them that resource to make it easy for them to help us so we can help them with their missions. So I'll leave you with that on this one, is meet them where they are. Don't force them into your process if there's an easier path that works for everybody.
Absolutely.
So speaking of going to bat for your partners, I can't say enough great things about our support team at YOOBIC. From implementation through rollout and beyond, every person that I've interacted with at YOOBIC, they're eager to support the mission. We're doing some amazing things with Mic Check, but I know we've barely scratched the surface there. And I know with the YOOBIC team, I have a partner that I can count on. They respond quickly. They anticipate our needs. They provide quality solutions. So if you need a ride or die partner, they've got your back. They've got you covered. But it doesn't end there. So with the YOOBIC team, in addition to all the great folks at YOOBIC, we have access to their entire customer community. And we know many of the challenges that we face as retailers, they're not unique to us. They're not unique to Michael's. They weren't unique when I was at GameStop. We all have the same challenges. And so when I have a problem and I'm like, how can I solve that? I can ask my YOOBIC team and their customers, what creative solutions have you found to do what you're trying to do? So having access to the other retailers who face those same challenges, that really helps me when I'm trying to do my job.
All right. So key takeaways, first and foremost, the partnership that we've had with YOOBIC and what Tiffany just walked through, I want to just put the exclamation point on that. They have been great partners. Not only that, it's the forward thinking, it's the innovation and the listening. We've got a partner that really, so I talked about the hub strategy and some of the things that we had difficulties with. We quickly worked together and they came up with solutions and enabled that. So for us to be able to work with a partner that's going to drive this platform forward, and we've demonstrated that in the results we shared with you today. And really, hopefully this was helpful. We wanted to give you kind of 6 strategies that we felt have been able to be successful through peak season. They're kind of universal, but the secret ingredient that I talked about in the beginning was the communications platform. The ability to engage and really drive that. Getting that sense of belonging. in driving with that first strategy. Investing in that frontline team member that understands, why am I doing this? And when should I be doing that? And if I'm struggling, I can engage with other people that understand how to do that. And really getting with our company values, driving that. But then for me as an executive and for our field leaders to leverage their data individually to drive their business has been a huge win. And then standardization. Consistency across the boards. That's how you win in peak season for the customer, right? The show must go on. We know it's crazy. If you have consistency in execution, we know we can deliver. Our chances of delivering are really, really good. And then lastly is just, getting our team members to embrace technology, because this has been a journey for us. So I would tell you, as we went through at the beginning, we didn't have as much participation. So we had to do our own internal promoting. We got with our executive team. Tiffany talked about the videos. They search for those videos now because they know they're going to get little nuggets. And we have follow-ups, or we'll have different things that we'll sprinkle with our executives, with our CEO. They love hearing that message. And so when you can pull them along with that journey, so get your executives to embrace the technology as well as your frontline team members, you merge in the middle, you're going to absolutely win. So this has been a great journey for us. And I just want to thank Fabrice and the entire team at YOOBIC for the partnership on this. So
I think we'll open it up to questions.
Before we all go, really quick, awesome session.
Thank you.
I mean, you guys,
Thank you.
this is awesome. Before you all head out, we've got bags in the back. You might think, hey, it's just a bunch of swag, cool. Some of them have $25 gift cards. Some of them have a really, really big, much bigger prize. So please grab one on your way out. And with that said, we'll open it up to any questions you all might have. We've got 5 minutes for you to tap into this resource.
Bueller.
I'll kick one off. So obviously we're at NRF, lots of vendors, lots of partners, lots of connections in their network. How did you all come across deciding on partnering with YOOBIC? And for anybody else in the room who might be in a similar situation, what are some things they should be thinking about?
No, just like everybody in this room, we all go through an RFP. We have a selection process that we go. There was a lot of great vendors that are out there. What we found was the innovation and engaging with that team. And I'll be honest with you, I have the worst poker face in the world. Their demo sold me. You had me at hello. As we walk through that entire platform, it resonated with me. It felt organic. So for me, it was a natural, and that's when I had to turn things over to Tiffany, because she's like, okay, get out of the way from an
Turn your camera off,
point,
Chris.
because this is not your lane. Stay in your lane. But I would tell you it was the partnership, and you could tell that it was authentic, but I love the innovation and the platform in it itself, because you could see the potential as we went through that journey. But things to think about, obviously, on that journey is, where is your company currently at? And, what's that end state? How does that align to the RFP, and finding a vendor, that's going to fulfill, from Y to Z and A to Z on that journey, as you move forward. That's going to be critical. Cost is obviously a great way for us to go back and look at that too. So that's when I leave it to Tiffany to help us out from the negotiations and our procurement team. So,
Thank you so much.
Great presentation. Thank you. Can you speak to the change or improvement in conversion rates you saw in your stores as a result of this?
Yeah. I can't give specifics on conversion rate because my folks at the support center would probably get upset with me. But what I can tell you is we've seen an appreciable increase, and it depends on the week and the things that we have going on. But here's the difference. I have the ability to see it now. And really engage. And what we're doing is we look at those bottom quartile stores and try to understand what happened. And then the nuggets, if you start to see the fleet is missing it, I can understand in real time, am I too focused on workload? And how do we pivot and make sure that field leaders, when they're touring, all of us are starting to communicate what we can pull back on. So what I can tell you is that we've seen an appreciable increase in that particular category without giving the numbers and getting in trouble. But it has worked for us. There's no doubt. And we can see it in sales team. We can see it in turnover. We provided those stats for you. It's been a big win. Those core KPIs are OSAT. Overall satisfaction and NPS. We've seen a big increase from a year-over-year perspective as well. It all ties into the conversion piece. And I would attribute that not only to the planning and the execution, but the way that we're able to communicate and do that. Hopefully that answers your question.
So it seems like you probably had a lot of different stakeholders that had to get on board. I'm thinking communications, training, supply chain, HR, etc. How did you get the whole, emphasis of Michael's behind that? What was your process, and did that take a long time?
Yes, it took a long time. Always takes a long time. So we have a process, like many of you probably do, where we go through our strategic pillars. And this is one of the end games where we said, begin with the end in mind. This is one of our initiatives that we need to get completed. And started out on that journey first and foremost with alignment from our CEO, and then having the appropriate capital to go attack that. Once we had alignment there, then it's going through that journey. And I will tell you, I personally took this platform in and I presented it to my CEO. And I wanted him to see the power of where we were going. And then I had him understand the potential, why we were doing it, but more importantly, the capital and the return on invested capital that we were going to get out of it. That in and of itself was a little bit of an easier sell as we went through the journey, and we're hitting those milestones. And then that was the discussion along the way. So we continued to do the follow-up. And what I would tell you is that intentionally bringing that in to any of the opportunities that you have with executive updates. So I have a monthly update. I'm on the hook for all of my initiatives, but talking to them about the journey after you launch, that's where you get more of the support than you'd ever think, because they see the results and they can see the things. Like, I'm literally pulling up in the boardroom and they know I'm in the system, and we didn't have that before, right? So you get a little bit of a buzz. You got to ride that and take that energy and build up momentum as you move forward, because you can get those KPIs to move even farther than what you thought at the outset. So,
and I'll add to that, from when we decided to introduce this platform all the way through implementation, the support that we got on rollout from the YOOBIC team, we couldn't have done it without them. They had the experience and they had the roadmap for us, and things we hadn't even thought of that were learnings from other rollouts. And like I said, the customers that they have within their ecosystem. And that was very valuable to us as well, to help us get through that journey and hit those key points in our rollout to make sure we had the buy-in and the training for our support center partners to make sure that they were ready to go when we turned it on.
We got time for one quick question.
Hi. Did you see any efficiencies in labor costs implementing this?
Yeah, absolutely. So, and we talked about the productivity savings. So we took that from the workload activity that we were measuring previously, and I think we said from 18 minutes down to 6 on that average. So absolutely was able to quantify and show savings. That's why I told you my CFO was very, very happy. So, yep. And that's the ones that I can capture. I can tell you the other one, and that's where listening within the platform, and as we continue to get into the communities and get the feedback that it was very fragmented before, we're continuing to find additional benefits and wins too. So.
I just got a really quick question. What's the best way to contact you to learn more? I know you're probably super busy with things, but email, LinkedIn, this was a very interesting presentation.
Thank you.
I can answer that. They're going to be at our booth right after this. You'll be able to chat way more in depth, which is a perfect transition. But please join us at our.
Love to spend some time talking to you. Yep, freemanc@michaels.com as well. So feel free to email me. All right, I will leave you with this one last. I wanted to take advantage of being on stage for just a couple of minutes. I had mentioned previously our disability inclusion hiring program, and I would love to challenge my peers across all of the retail industry to join us. I know a lot of companies are doing this, and we've played off of their model. I've been on a journey as the executive sponsor for this program of Makers Like Me. And if you think about one of the most underemployed classifications of people across the world, and this is a mission that I'm personally very passionate about. If you have a program, I would love to talk to you and learn from you. If you don't have a program, I would love to share this with you, because what I will tell you is that we've hired over 1,000 team members in this program, and the productivity is on par with the rest of our team members. Turnover is better, safety is better, and it has been such a huge win. So I would love to be able to engage with any of you in this room that would be interested in continuing the discussion with us around a disability hiring and inclusion program. So thank you so much for your time today. Enjoy the rest of your conference.